Hi, I'm Jen Rogers at Nasdaq Market Site, and this is Breakthrough Economy. Today, we're taking a look at the innovative software preventing cybercrime and keeping our systems safe. I'm joined by Tom Gillis, Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Security Business Group at Cisco, and Dan Ives, Managing Director and Senior Equity Analyst at Wedbush Securities. Tom, let's jump right in with you and Cisco. So the threats are always evolving and advancing, which means you have to as well. So what are the innovations on the cybersecurity side that are transforming the landscape right now?
Yeah, there's two big drivers that we see reshaping security, and they're kind of obvious. The first is the movement towards remote work, and the second is the movement towards multi-cloud. So what that means is that the users are everywhere, and also your applications are everywhere. And so for decades, we've been building security solutions that came in a box. And so in this world where users are on every device in every location, at Starbucks and at home, and your apps are spread across multiple different clouds and SaaS, where's the box go? Right. So the big trend in the industry is to deliver cloud-based solutions that can work in a distributed fashion instead of in a more centralized fashion. That's a pretty significant change, but it's well underway.
So with it underway, Dan, you have been bullish here before. Are you right now? And how are these themes exciting what's happening in cybersecurity?
Yeah, I think Tom summed up great. I mean, I view it as a golden age for cybersecurity in terms of where we're seeing on the cloud is we believe we're only about halfway through in terms of workloads in the cloud need to be protected. And I believe this is really something where more and more budgets, as I'm sure Tom sees on an everyday basis, is going to cybersecurity. And that's companies like Cisco, Palo Alto, pure plays like Zscaler, CrowdStrike, among others. It's almost an arms race going on in terms of cybersecurity.
In this arms race, there are the good guys and the bad guys. And right now, anybody can talk about, frankly, that both players are looking at is AI and machine learning. So, Tom, how is Cisco utilizing AI and machine learning to strengthen its offerings against any incoming threats?
Yeah, machine learning and machine-based analytics have been at the heart of security for decades. It's not really a new thing. So if you look back in time, I was part of the founding team of a company called Ironport. Ironport was a spam filter. And we could read hundreds of millions of emails and with insane accuracy, this one's real, this one's spam. That was an early version of AI, right? We used neural networks and we would train models to be able to identify friend from foe. What's really interesting in the AI world is there's a new technology, it's called large language models that allow machines to actually interpret and communicate with text, like words. But we think that capability allows us to apply security techniques to language-based principles. So stuff like incident report about a previous cyber attack can now be put into an AI-based system so that your security analysts have a co-pilot that's going to be able to make these decisions, an order of magnitude faster and in near real time. So it's a pretty big step change that we see in the industry.
Dan, I think there's a lot of excitement around AI, whether it's completely new or not, especially on the prevention front, being able to see things before they actually happen. So from an investor perspective, do you get that sense of excitement from people? And do you think that AI will actually live up to the hype in cybersecurity?
Yeah, I think investors are clearly skeptical in terms of hype themes, like we've seen metaverse and some others. I think this is real. I think AI is probably one of the biggest transformational technologies we've seen in decades. Cybersecurity, it's really convergence that we're going to see. I think more and more the big vendors, you're going to be seeing AI go from much more reactive security to proactive. And I think this is really going to change the space. It's going to have a huge ripple effect. And we believe hundreds of billions of dollars of investment, both on the public and private side, because of this. I think it's a real concrete theme playing out.
Tom, how do you think the public's idea and understanding of cybersecurity and cybercrime has changed in recent years? And what does that actually mean for companies that are on the front lines?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Again, if you look back to the spam debacle, everybody knew what that was because it touched your inbox. And then we moved into in a world where these threats were designed to avoid detection. We call them advanced persistent threats, where the goal of an attacker was to get in and stay in. And that sort of slipped out of the public eye. Ransomware has brought it back. What's interesting about this ransomware is that it's not just the high-end accounts, not just those spectacular incidents. So the ransomware problem is really ubiquitous and is, I think, captured the public attention again.
Dan, do you think that cybersecurity is recession proof? I mean, if cybercrime increases as the economic outlook becomes more uncertain, is that in fact the case? And what do companies do with that knowledge?
Well, I think that's why it's been what I call a Rock of Gibraltar tech theme, because despite the economic storm clouds that we're seeing, cybersecurity trends have actually been robust in terms of what we're seeing. We believe spending is going to be up 24, 25% this year in a low IT budget in terms of single digits. And that's important because you cannot, as Tom's talking about, you can't push these things off, especially as the bad guys more and more are trying to get into mobile, get into the enterprise, get into consumer. And that's why more and more we're seeing this spending that I believe is not slowing down. I actually think accelerating.
And just to wrap, does the next big breakthrough come from the good guys or the bad guys, and then the good guys have to catch up?
Yeah, that's always a back and forth. And the question my dad always asked me is like, are we winning? And meaning the good guys. And so we recently ran a study where we asked almost 7,000 customers that question, like, are you ready? And more than 80% of them said no. So the feeling right now is that the current tool set that are necessary is not adequate to hold off the sophistication of the attacks, which is spurring companies like ours to say, let's do things differently. We use the word a platform approach where we can look from the laptop to the network, to the web, to the email, and look across all of that and look for that lateral movement. As we refine those capabilities, I think it'll give us a real advantage that'll stop the bad guys. They won't stop there, right? Then that'll spur a new round of innovation on their end. So unfortunately, it's a battle that is ongoing, but the good news is we have some very powerful tools to defend networks all around the world.
And that's why it's such an interesting topic to discuss. Tom and Dan, thank you both so much for joining us. I'm Jen Rogers.